Hi everyone, Michael from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au. So we're doing another in our interview series, and today we have this ruggedly handsome young gentleman next to us who's about to introduce himself.
Alrighty, so my name's Matt Thompson and I am a numismatist. So a slightly different field of the industry. I would say we're sort of like cousins in that regard.
Yeah, okay.
Similar but different.
You notice I handed over to him to explain what he was because there was no way I was going to attempt that word because I struggle with it at the best of times. So tell us, what is a...
Alright, so...
One of those things.
Well, I actually, funnily on the pronunciation of things, I started as a philatelist.
Oh, wow.
So, that is actually the study of stamps.
Yep.
So I started at Australia Post in the stamp industry, which fortunately led me into numismatics, which is collectible coins and banknotes and that type of thing.
Okay.
So that is my bread and butter. That is my gold and silver, you might say.
Okay, so do you prefer numismatics over bullion?
That's an interesting one. I love numismatics. I have a real passion for it, and it's led me to a great deal of study, and I've learnt a lot from being in the industry. But I've actually been definitely led down the road of bullion. It's always been, it's sort of...
So you're a stacker as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people gasp at that.
I just imagining, like, a lot of our viewers are stackers, like it's just flat out stackers, and they probably turned off as soon as you said the word numismatics.
That's it. Well, yeah, I'm one of you. I swear. But it's hard because they're my two loves, and bullion actually came up just through way of doing some large bullion transactions, and I thought, why does this guy come in and he's brought in a huge sack of just mixed rounds that seem to be, he hasn't collected with any theme or pattern, it's just bulk. And I thought that, and he was a very switched on individual, this customer, and I thought, maybe there's something to this. And then I suppose, like a lot of your audience, I went down the rabbit hole, I started watching videos, and I thought, yeah, there's something to this. This is a really interesting, it's almost become like a little bit of a lifestyle choice for me. It's a really, and it's a lovely community as well. I really enjoy all the content that you guys put out. I'm one of your early subscribers.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I just think it's a really, really interesting industry, and a lot of the sort of approaches that people take to it is, that's why I say it's sort of like cousins. You have, sort of like thematic collectors within the bullion area. People only go for a certain thing, and then much like my numismatic collecting personally, it's a total mixed bag. There is no rhyme or reason. If you had a look at my collection spread out, even I do occasionally, and I have no idea. If someone said to me, what's your main focus? I say, everything.
Yeah. So you and I came from the coin side. I was not a stacker by choice right back at the start.
Yeah.
I had a fascination with coins and collecting them and trading them and that type of thing, and then that built into going down the rabbit hole with, why is this one worth, whereas this one's not. And
you went far down, look at you now.
Yeah, well, you can criticise that later. So it always fascinates me in the store. It makes me smile quite often where you have people walk in the store and they go, no, I don't want to look at a coin. I'm not interested. I just want best bang for the buck. I want as much metal as I can possibly drag together. I don't ever want to look at it. Oh wow, look at that coin. I love that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get 5 of them. I've got to get one each for the kids, and one for mum and one for the. And all of a sudden they're starting to move part of their collection down the numismatic type line.
Yeah, and I think it's something that happens as you've just suggested. It's almost involuntary.
Oh, so, absolutely.
It happened to me just yesterday. A customer came into the shop and they picked up a proof coin, one of the new Kangaroo Perth Mint proof coins, and they said, "Oh, so this is 1 ounce, a quarter of an ounce, and it's $1,000. Is there a way I can get more gold for less money?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got some bullion sovereigns over here and some old knocked about. They were ex-jewelry mounts, so they've got clamp marks and things like that on them. It's considerably cheaper, and you'll get more for less." And they looked at that and then they said, "Yeah, but this is." I said this one. It's in a box, nice. And it's got the finish on it. It's much more. It'll make for a much better gift. I said, "Yeah, absolutely, but you can get more gold. That's absolutely an option." And I said personally, that's what I would do. That this is just my personal opinion. And then they went down the avenue of the proof coins. They said, "Oh no, but then if I get more, I'd like to have them all neat and organised, and down the line it'll make for a much nicer gift." And
OCD is alive and well amongst us.
Not with with me. I try, but jeez.
So we probably need to explain a little bit more because you've talked about being in the shop, and despite the fact that you look like you're in a Bullion Now uniform, you actually don't work for us.
Yeah.
So you've got to give us a bit of background too.
Yeah, sure. So the way it all came to be for me was I was, as I mentioned earlier, working in the Philatelic Bureau for Australia Post.
Yep.
I did that for about 4 years, and one of my clients was a wholesale customer of Downey's, who are a large coin business, and he said I wasn't happy with my job, and he knew it, and he said, I'll put in a good word for you at Downey's. And I said, I've already applied, and they knocked me back. They ignored my application. I'm clearly hopeless. I don't have what it takes. They're not looking for a stamp guy. They need a coin guy. And then he said, no, I'll speak to them, and I'll make sure you get an interview. And then I did, and one thing led to another, and I worked there for a year, and that just opened my eyes to a whole new ball game. And I was working in the VIP section, dealing with the top end of the market.
Client, yeah.
And that was just bizarre. I never could have imagined doing a transaction for, up to $100,000 on 2 coins or just 1 coin.
Yeah.
It was just
It's
bizarre.
not even pure gold. It's
that's it. It's madness. The bigger ones like the Holy Dollar, there's a small silver component to it, but yeah, certainly not $100,000 of intrinsic value. And then through that, I ended up moving up to Sydney for about 3 years and working for David Jobson, who was the senior numismatist for Downey's. He bought the Sydney branch of the company, and I went, and I would say it was sort of like I studied under him. I felt like I went up there and I learned so much.
Did your apprenticeship?
Yeah, that was it, and I just learned so much and had such a great time working for him. And then now I found myself back in Melbourne for the past year, managing the Melbourne Downey's shop.
All right.
So I've done a bit and seen a few things.
Good. So for anyone who doesn't know, Downey's is a fairly large international, more numismatic. We have got one of our competitors on, but we kind of bat in different fields, really.
Oh, that's it.
But we overlap slightly.
And that's it. And if ever I have someone coming into the store asking about substantial amounts of bullion and things like that, I just pass them your information.
You're allowed to admit that?
Well, it's just reality. We don't hold nearly as much bullion as you guys, so I can help out with a few round 50 cents here and there, but on the large scale stuff, I just say, Bullion Now, best in the business.
Yeah.
This is my personal favourite.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you explain the spending $100,000 on an ounce of silver to someone?
Yeah, for sure. So I have thought about this long and hard, and I've concluded that there are 2 things that I find interesting about numismatics in particular. People are comfortable spending large sums of money on art and things like that. And to me, this is art on a much smaller canvas, and it has a great deal of historical significance. So something like the Holy Dollar is a tangible piece of Australian history, arguably Australia's introduction to having our own currency exclusive to us, and it wasn't a completely unique idea. It had been done before the stamping out of the centre of a coin, but when it was done here, it was. And I think it represents something interesting for Australia as a country doing things in a little bit of a different way. It wasn't, let's get a mint and we'll start producing our own coins, with a big map of Australia or a flag or something. It was, all right, we've got these Spanish coins.
Yeah.
We don't want everyone else's. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got a convicted forger in the colony, and we need to use this guy, and we need money that's ours. It's not going to get hoarded up by all the travelling merchants that are taking. And they were dealing with all different countries' currency at the time, and it was just out of necessity, and they just made it work.
And interestingly enough, it's the only Australian currency that has been retired.
That is correct.
Everything else is still legal tender. I can present a sovereign at the bank, and they will pay me for it. Not what it's worth, but
they'll give you a strange look, but it is legally, legal tender.
Yeah, so that always amazes me. So we've kind of hedged around it, but how? Okay, so I've why would I spend $100,000? Okay, you've said it's art.
Yeah, sure.
Why would I spend $100,000 on it? Because if I buy an ounce of silver at $40, whatever it is, I can see silver goes up because there's more demand for it, so I'll be able to sell it for $50 later down the track. I've just bought a $40 item for $100,000.
Yeah, for sure. So
what do I do now?
In bullion terms, in bullion terms, you'd be sweating.
Yeah, bullets.
in numismatic terms and in the collector world, much like you could say, I've bought this canvas covered in paint and it's probably only about 40 cents worth of paint, but oh god, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's what it represents, and it's something like a holy dollar is just always in demand. It's so iconic, and you'll notice that even the Macquarie Bank, their logo is a holy dollar.
Yeah.
It's something that's just a really fascinating piece of history. You're buying something that represents a time in our nation's history, and it goes along with all numismatic coins of collectible significance. I know a lot of people would have that view of it's just it's just a coin, but what it represents in a grander sense is so much more than that, and that's why I find myself going down that rabbit hole of the more research I do, the more I learn about these things, the more value they take on to me, and then all hell breaks loose.
So will they grow in value though?
Historically they absolutely have. So if you go back into the 80s, you can see holy dollars selling for $10,000-$15,000 that are now selling for $50,000-$60,000. There are numismatists, a gentleman by the name of Eric Eigner, and he's a Sydney-based chap, and he does a lot of that plotting of historic values and things like that, and tracks the market. And things like that at the top end of the market have certainly appreciated well over time. And historically they were a very popular self-managed super fund option, some of the top end rarities in the coin market.
So, in your opinion, coins or banknotes?
Whoa, that is such a difficult... you don't realise how hard that question is.
Yeah, I do actually. That's why I asked it.
I have a real soft spot for both of them, but again, this may come as a shock to a lot of people, but for me, it is actually banknotes.
It is for me too.
Yeah. And it feels like I'm getting further and further from bullion now. From true value in the truest sense of it. But banknotes. Oh god, the pre-Federation banknotes in Australia.
Now we're talking my territory.
Oh wow, it is just amazing, the artistry on those is just incredible, and again the significance that holds. We're talking about a time when banks were just doing comparatively whatever they wanted.
You could print your own money.
Their own money, and
you don't have to be a central bank to do it.
Yeah, and it's just the size of them as well.
Yeah.
You're talking big notes, and that holding something from that period again. Your mind just goes to a different place, and the more I read about it, the more value it takes on. It's a vicious cycle of enthusiasm, I think.
I've loved... This is going to sound terrible, and I apologise to anyone that suffered because of this, because I'm not meaning to sound quite so flippant about it, but we saw quite a lot of growth in the banknotes, and then there was a company went broke.
Yes.
Interstate, and it caused... I'm assuming...
Shockwaves.
Yeah, and the price really took a hammering over those few years after it. But now we're seeing the uptick again, and it's really starting to run again. So it's been fascinating to watch that reaction of, will these ever be worth anything again? Sure enough, they definitely are. Yeah. So it's I love that. I love that side.
And it's really, and I think that has in itself presented a great opportunity to get some incredible items, and that company that you've mentioned, I have handled a number of banknotes that were bought from that company with price tags that it's almost like a phone number. Yeah, it was terrible to see how inflated that gentleman was able to get the market, but subsequently with the runoff, people have been able to pick up some incredibly rare items at really good prices.
At one of your auctions, I picked up one that had a valuation on it at $48,000, and I didn't pay anywhere near that.
That's it, yeah. In that sense, for some items like that, it's almost like when you buy like a diamond ring at an auction. And I'll say it has a jeweler's valuation for whatever, and then the estimate is 1/20th of that.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. Anyway, we've gone way off topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a feeling it's a bit of a ramble. I didn't have a real set plan or script. Yeah. Okay,
so let's bring it back on topic. Yeah. What is your stack? We'll move away from the numismatic side. What's your stacking ethos? What do you stack? Are you a bar? I hesitate to say coin in case we end up going straight back to the numismatic side. But are you a bar or a coin guy? Are you a small bar, small coin, big coin type guy?
So It all began with an accumulation of proof coins like the Kookaburra series from the early 90s and things like that. I started by collecting the year I was born. I think that's not too crazy of a starting point for a lot of people.
Pretty common.
It's just a natural, I just gravitated towards that. So when I was in Sydney and a number of coins came through for my birth year, I thought, yeah, this is a good idea. And then the floodgates opened, and I have since become, I never thought I would become, but a silver bar guy. I've really, there's something about...
Any bar? Or
any bar.
Is it,
I've got old ABC bars, I've got a number of bars from you guys, I've got, and size-wise, all sorts. I've got an old cast 5 kilo.
I love hand-forward castings.
Yeah, holding something like that is just, yeah, and you've said it in videos before that I've watched, and when you say, particularly with things like the kilo gold bar, I don't have one myself, but I have held them, and I can't describe it. It's just a really...
spine-tingling.
It is. It's very hard to quantify. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's, again, similarly with my coin and banknote collection, it's a very broad mix, but I also have a lot of the rounds like the kangaroos. The Canadian maples are my favourite. I think they're the best. That is... maybe controversial, but I've said it.
I love the design. I don't like the milk spotting that we got in the teens.
Yeah, but they fixed that now, right? I was under the impression they've
fixed
ironed out the kinks.
Yeah, look, they have, and we're not seeing the white spot come through, but I'm still on the fence of, but it's not 5 years old yet.
So I'm confident. I think it'll be alright.
I think you're right, but I'm still on the fence a little bit. Alright, gold or silver?
It's got to be silver.
Got to be silver.
I just think I'm one of those guys, and the further I've gone down the rabbit hole, I understand that there is potentially more volatility in that side of the market, but I just love it. And that holding, and I do have some gold, and I do get a bit goosey when I hold that. There is a lot to be said for that. But the silver, I just like the idea of having. It's just a volume thing. I think maybe it's just like a core human. You want more, and so when I can get more for a lot less of my fiat bucks.
But it gets to a point where you're trying to store tons of the stuff.
It's a
not personally, but for the company.
Yeah.
That you go, you flipping kidding me?
Yeah, why don't you just get into gold?
That's right.
But yeah, so it provides its own challenges in that sense of storage, safe and efficient storage, and I'm looking forward to your upcoming video in the series on that. I'm sure I'll get some tips, but it's an interesting one.
That one's going to be controversial in itself.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's go personal. What do you do when you're not collecting stamps or banknotes or coins or stacking, or what do you do for fun?
Well, for the longest time, I played in bands.
Really? You're a muso?
Yeah, it's sort of, once again, other end of the spectrum,
I knew there was a weird bent to you.
Yeah, exactly. It was always going to be the case. I have this sort of like weird rock star alter ego, and then I'm sifting through bulk pennies by day, and then up on stage drinking beers all night.
I love it.
So yeah, I did that I haven't so much anymore. Since going up to Sydney, I sort of tossed it in because the conflicting priorities. Coins won the battle. But yeah, I did that. I put out an album and did shows all over Australia and whatnot.
What's type of music and what do you play?
So the main band was called Cat or Pillar. I named it when I was about 14, so it wasn't the cleverest name. And I played bass in that band, and we did an album and did all that kind of stuff. It was, and I played in a number of, and I played in it's a genre. It's like a grindcore is the genre. I played in some super heavy bands. You wouldn't recognise this guy.
I'm trying to picture it.
The mild-mannered guy you see here. It was a different story. So I played all different genres in a variety of bands, but yeah, that was a lot of fun because that got me my social fix. I'd go out and do a gig and then see all my friends, and then it was an all-in-one. So and then I'd get to
be serious during the day.
Get right into coins and banknotes by day.
Definite alter ego there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're not doing the band.
Yeah.
So what do you do for relaxation now?
Well, at the moment, I've sort of reverted to being what I would self-confess nerd. I just play computer games. I play RuneScape a lot at the moment. I don't know if any of your viewers will know what that is, but anyone
it's an older game.
Born in the 90s, it's an MMORPG. It's like a poor man's World of Warcraft. So I do a lot of that, and Yeah, I'm not nearly as exciting anymore. I just, yeah, and I make some coin videos for YouTube. In my
Oh, we
free
better
time.
plug your YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
It's called Coin Shop Matt, and it's just, yeah,
Excellent.
not nearly as exciting as this, but it's a bit more coin focused, and yeah, something a
good
bit
fun.
different.
There you go. Make sure you subscribe. Go over there and have a look at it. Coin Shop Matt.
Thank you very much.
So,
Yeah,
excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming. It's been a lot
the
of
best.
fun.
Highlight of my day, highlight of my week. It's always good coming here.
No, it's been a lot of fun. So thank you for that. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, all those good things that we tell you to do all the time. If you want to see more interviews like these ones, if you happen to be in the neighbourhood and you're after numismatics, Downies is a great spot over there on, not South Bank, what do you call yourselves over there?
Southgate, yeah.
Southgate.
Yeah, South Bank, Southgate, they are the same place.
Yeah, okay. Over the other side of Flinders Station, go over the bridge and they're over there on the right hand side.
That's it.
And you can see this smiling, handsome face over there whenever you want. Yeah, I think that's about it. So we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much.